HOA Karen built a hotel on my farm while I was away. I had spent months traveling abroad, finally taking the vacation I had always dreamed of. My farm, a sprawling piece of land passed down through my family for generations, was supposed to be in good hands. I had security cameras, legal boundaries, and trusted that nothing would be disturbed in my absence. But the moment I pulled into my driveway upon returning, I knew something was horribly wrong. My once quiet farmland was unrecognizable. A large, gaudy sign stood near the entrance. "Welcome to HOA Grand Retreat, Luxury Farm Stays." Beyond it, there was a fully operational hotel, a 3-story building complete with a parking lot filled with cars, landscaping that didn't belong, and strangers walking all over my property. Furious, I drove closer and nearly ran into an HOA representative cheerfully giving a tour. The one in charge? None other than Karen, the overbearing, self-righteous HOA president who had a long history of overstepping boundaries. She turned and smiled as if nothing was wrong.
"Oh, you're back. I was hoping you'd be gone a little longer."
I stared at her in disbelief. "Karen, what the hell is this?" She waved her hand dismissively.
"A community enhancement project. Your land was just sitting there, and we thought it would be a perfect location for a relaxing country retreat. It's good for the neighborhood, you know. You should be grateful."
I clenched my fists. "You built a hotel on my property without my permission?" She scoffed.
It's not just a hotel. It's an HOA-approved high-end experience. You weren't even using the land properly. We had an HOA vote, and the majority agreed that this would be the best use of the space.
My jaw nearly hit the floor. "You think an HOA vote overrides my property rights? This is my land." Karen sighed as if I was the unreasonable one.
"Oh, don't be dramatic. The community needs this. You're just being selfish."
That was it. I had seen enough. What Karen didn't know was that I had prepared for something like this. While I had been away, I had updated my property records and filed legally binding documents explicitly protecting my land from any HOA encroachment. Not only that, but I had installed high-resolution security cameras recording everything that had happened in my absence. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through the video feed, and smiled. The footage showed HOA members trespassing, demolishing my fences, and illegally constructing their so-called hotel on my land. Everything was documented, and I was about to drop the legal hammer on them. I dialed the police. Within 30 minutes, multiple police cars arrived, sirens blaring. Officers stepped out, immediately surveying the property. Karen marched up to them, still trying to play innocent.
"Officers, please, help me talk some sense into this man. He's trying to destroy a community project."
The lead officer turned to me.
"Sir, can you explain what's happening?"
I handed over my documents, deeds, and most importantly, the security footage. "This is my private property. I never gave permission for any of this. They trespassed, built without permits, and have been illegally operating a business on my land." The officer frowned, flipping through the paperwork.
"And you have video evidence of them breaking and entering?"
I nodded. "Everything's recorded." The moment the officers reviewed the footage, their attitudes shifted. Trespassing, illegal construction, unlawful business operations, destruction of private property. Karen and the HOA had racked up a laundry list of crimes. The officers turned back to Karen.
"Ma'am, do you have any legal claim to this property?"
Karen crossed her arms.
"The HOA voted?"
"That's not a legal claim.
The officer cut her off.
You and your association are in serious legal trouble."
Karen's smugness finally cracked.
"Wait, this is just a misunderstanding. I mean, the HOA. We were going to compensate him."
One of the officers pulled out his notepad.
"Ma'am, you and the HOA are being charged with multiple violations, including trespassing, property damage, and illegal business operations. This hotel is being shut down immediately."
By the end of the day, the entire operation was dismantled. Bulldozers arrived within days, tearing down the illegal hotel. It was surreal watching the building that had caused me so much stress crumble into rubble. Every piece of furniture, every fancy sign, every trace of Karen's grand plan was erased. Karen and several HOA members were arrested. While Karen was out on bail, she tried to rally the community in her defense. She went on social media crying about how she was just trying to improve the neighborhood and claiming that I was the bad guy for refusing to compromise. Unfortunately for her, the public wasn't on her side. The local news picked up the story, and the footage of her HOA illegally seizing my land went viral. The comment sections were brutal.
Imagine thinking you can just vote away someone's private property rights. HOA Karen is a menace. Hope she enjoys court. She deserves everything coming to her.
When the court case rolled around, Karen tried everything to weasel out of it. She claimed she had verbal permission, but that was easily disproven by my legal documents. She shifted blame onto other HOA members, but the evidence showed she was the mastermind. The judge didn't hold back. The fallout was glorious. Karen was sued for damages and lost her position as HOA president. The HOA was fined heavily for violating property laws and had to pay for all demolition and repairs. Every guest was evicted and refunds were issued. A judge granted me full damages, covering legal fees, land restoration, and even compensation for emotional distress. The HOA was publicly exposed, leading to mass resignations from its board. Karen's name became synonymous with HOA overreach, and she was blacklisted from any future HOA leadership roles. The fallout was glorious. Karen was sued for damages and lost her position as HOA president. The HOA was fined heavily for violating property laws and had to pay for all demolition and repairs. Every guest was evicted, and refunds were issued. A judge granted me full damages, covering legal fees, land restoration, and even compensation for emotional distress. The HOA was publicly exposed, leading to mass resignations from its board. Karen's name became synonymous with HOA overreach, and she was blacklisted from any future HOA leadership roles. Now, my farm is back in my hands, gated, secured, and HOA-proof. No one can trespass without facing consequences. The farm is thriving once again, and I've invested more in its development and preservation. Every time I sit on my porch enjoying the sunset, I remember the day Karen and her HOA learned the hard way that some lines should never be crossed. My peace and my land are mine again, and I'm ready to make sure they stay that way, free from any further interference. If you want to see even more of our stories, leave a like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which region you're watching from. Thanks for watching.